everybody. Welcome to today's webinar. We're excited to be able to share with you what we have built over here at Ballen Brand, which we call our Autopilot ISA. I do have our question box open, and Sabrina is online. She handles customer support. She's the lead trainer here for our online marketing training sessions. And so she'll be typing in some answers and some questions as you guys go through them. But I also have with me today, I'm very excited to have Jeff Helvin with me. And Jeff is actually the creator of Autopilot ISA. He built the system based on my pain, and I'll talk about that in a second. But basically, he put all the components together. So we're going to show you how that works. I helped with messaging and testing and measuring, being a marketing person myself. We used my talents and his talents in the I can't say it. He created the system for it, made it all fly, made it all work. So we're excited to have Jeff here. So as you type in those questions, he's going to be reading them, and I will refer to him wherever it makes sense to do so. For those of you that are new, I do see some new names on here. I'll just, quick story, I got into real estate in 2007, completely flat broke, had lost millions of dollars, was very successful in my previous company, market crashed, made some bad decisions, straight up honest, got into real estate in 2007 with my tail between my legs, and went, oh my gosh, I have to survive, what the heck, what are we going to do? And so I went to work on doing what I know how to do, and that's generating leads on the web. I'm a marketing person, always have been. And in my previous company, I did a lot through direct mail and fax machines, fax marketing back in the day. And then when the internet really came on strong, I'm 45, so obviously I was here before internet. When the internet came on really strong, I took advantage of that and said, oh my gosh, there is not a better way to reach a massive audience than through the internet. And so today in 2016, we're seeing something relatively new, and that is text messaging is taking over email marketing and some of the other old-fashioned ways of doing marketing. So Jeff and I have created this system that is combining text messaging with email marketing, still some components of email, to get our leads to communicate. Now, today's webinar is brought to you by Listings to Leads. And I'd invite you guys all to hop over to listingstoleads.com/Ballen. That should actually be all lowercase, listingstoleads.com/Ballen, and check out this amazing listing marketing tool. Part of the reason why we have as many of the leads that we do is we do use the Listings to Leads tools and the home valuation pages, which give out instant home valuations. It's 2016 going into 2017. If your website is not equipped with an instant home valuation offer, it's a little bit behind the times. And so even though we don't all like these instant estimates, we don't like these estimates, and we know that they're not going to be as accurate as a real estate agent going out there, the consumer still wants them. And one of the top search terms, I'm a keyword marketing specialist, and one of the top search terms is home value calculator, home value estimator. How much is my house worth, obviously. Those are top questions that people are using, and they are looking for instant home valuations, and that's how you get leads. You can always counteract those with a campaign like I have that tells them why that estimate or why that instant valuation is probably not the best source, and that you should come out to their house now and give them a real estimate as a professional. But you got to at least have the tool that allows you to give those those instant estimates so that you can start with the lead, because it all starts with the lead, right? And so that is we use listingstoleads.com/Ballen for ours, and you can hop on there, do a free trial with my link. If you use my link there, you get an extended trial to actually test it out and check out how it blogs your listings and creates videos for your listings and feeds them to YouTube. Pretty darn incredible tool. All right, let's get into it. Hey, Eric and Deborah, see you guys there typing in. Thanks so much for joining us. All right, and happy anniversary to Jeff, who has now officially been with Ballen Brands for 2 years, since the day we started it, actually. 2-year anniversary today. All right, so We built Autopilot at ISA, and I'm going to show you some of the components here in a second, out of my pain. So as a real estate agent, I have chosen to generate my leads online. I also have a very unconventional model in that I lead generate for the nation. I lead generate for other agents in several ways. One, I lead generate for my real estate team here in Las Vegas. I also have begun testing an expansion market in Seattle, Washington that I'm lead generating for. And then we also market for clients. So we close hundreds of transactions a year directly from the web for our teams and for our clients through pay-per-click marketing, search engine optimization, social marketing. And so we really live this, eat, breathe, sleep this. This is my pain every single day. I lead generate and I cultivate the leads. Now, I had an inside sales agent up until a very short time ago. And for 2 years, we allowed him to chase and call and manually do a lot of these steps in addition to our automation systems. And what we found was no matter what he did, people just weren't answering their phone as a high percentage. I didn't pull that stat this morning on how many actually answered their phone, but it was a very small amount. However, people answer texts, okay? And so we said, you know what? I don't want to pay somebody several $1,000s a month to sit on their phone and call everybody when we can get 52% of our cold web leads that come in to communicate with us via text. That's a pretty powerful number. So I personally decided to take on the lead cultivation processes for our team so that I could test and measure and build this out like nobody else has and create formulas and systems and models for lead cultivation and conversion as much as we do for lead generation. So let me just give you a sneak peek here into the Autopilot ISA. Here's an example from this morning that I've been going back and forth with. Okay, so you should be able to see this little screen that just popped up that says Turbo Dial. And this is a real life example of a text that was going back and forth this morning, okay? So here's how it works. It's not all automated. The arrival campaign, the Autopilot ISA system is comprised of 3 campaigns. The first one is the arrival campaign, the second one is the survival campaign, and the third one is the revival campaign. So the first one has one goal. Let me get people to communicate. That's it. It stops as soon as that two-way contact is achieved. The second one is a survival campaign, and it consists of text and email messages that are value-focused on helping somebody through the home buying process or the home selling process that tries to cultivate those leads to keep them alive, especially those long-term nurturers that some of them are years out of actually buying or selling, right? And then there's the revival, which is, oh gosh, these leads are dead. They're not communicating. They're not doing anything. Let's throw them into one last batch and give it a Hail Mary and see what happens, right? We all kind of have those. So here's how it works. This first text message down at the bottom here says, hi, Sylvania. My name is Lori. Thanks for visiting our real estate website. How do you feel about the properties you're finding? This is automated. She did not answer. Second one goes out. Hi, Sylvania. Lori again. We never give up on helping our customers. Should we send you properties up to $300,000? Now, let me show you. Jeff sent me this wonderful graph here. And I don't remember where I put it. Hold on. There it is. So Jeff sent me this fantastic graph here this morning that shows us how people are responding. Jeff, explain a little bit here about what we're looking at with this graph.
Okay, so specifically here we're looking at the actual text responses. So you'll notice in here of the campaign, if they responded to the second or third or fourth text and it's on this graph, it means they did not respond to the previous ones. So in this case, we see that your first auto text, you have a 37.76% of the responders responded via the first text. So obviously that's good. We're first to them. They got the message within a few minutes and they responded quickly. You'll notice the second auto text toward the bottom there, there's 22.82% responded to the second. Then we'll see to the third, 16.8% to the third. Now you'll notice this continues to go down, but what's most interesting here is if you've texted somebody 3 times, let's assume you're not busy with the rest of your life and your job, and you can text them the fourth, fifth, and sixth time. A lot of us don't get that far. We're too busy texting everybody else the first and second and third time that we, when they come into our funnel. So if you look at the fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and ninth, these people, let's look at the ninth, for example, toward the top. 2.9% of them responded to the ninth auto text, meaning they ignored us the first 8. So in our campaign, this is 10 days later. They responded to us 10 days later after 14 touches to them. They finally responded. So I think you could probably take a look at your own processes and understand the industry as a whole, that a lot of us give up long before that ever happens. So looking at the ones that go from 4th to 9th, that's a significant number of people that we're still reaching that otherwise probably would have been dropped.
And it's important to note here too that we customized all these messages. We tested and measured this and adjusted and changed the messages so that for direct response, where aren't we getting response? What might generate more of a response? It's designed to be annoying. It's a first touch. The goal is this is going to chase somebody and do that chasing for us so that we don't have to. And here's what's going to happen. When it sends that first text, the system actually sends a notification and lets us know if, in fact, this was a SMS textable phone number. If it's not a textable phone number, it tells us, and it assigns a task that now says this lead needs manually nurtured. So you immediately get this opportunity to then start calling. Now, I'm going to be really honest with you. I don't call. I don't have time. I got a million things going on, and they gave me a bad phone number to begin with. I'm still going to let my system send them emails. I'm still going to have them on a automated home search based on what they were looking at on the website. So I'm still going to work to communicate with them, but I personally am not going to pick up the phone and chase them. And after 2 years of watching an Autopilot ISA, watching an inside sales agent chase all these leads for me and not reach a large amount of those leads, I just don't think it's worth my time. But we didn't want to make that decision for you. So in our Autopilot ISA campaign, we have it set to assign a task for manual nurtures. And then you can decide from that point how much you want to chase on the phone or what you want to do. And a lot of you have inside sales agents. If you're on a team, that person can start calling. That's great. The system also lets us know if it's a bad phone number. So we're immediately notified by the system without us having to do anything so that we know how next to proceed with that consumer. Now let's give you a little peek here into what this, Tyler, our ISA called this dinosaur DNA. And we'll give you a little peek at what this looks like, okay? It's in, well, you guys got to read that little text message example. This is an example of, this is the actual campaign. This is what it looks like. Now, most real estate agents are never going to stop and build this. Am I right? Type in there. Are you ever going to stop and build a campaign like this? I'm going to assume no, and I'm sure there's a lot of no's following. There's a little lag, so make sure you let me know if this is you. If you are the type of person that can sit down and build this system, all power to you. Do it. Most real estate agents are not going to do it. So we've taken the trouble of building this out for ourselves and then said, well, let's go ahead and offer this to other people as well. So this is an example of the system. Everything is fired by tags. So what we do, and Jeff can jump in here and correct me or fill in the blanks, is all of the leads. Is it true, Jeff, that anybody that gets this campaign, how are their leads funneled? Let's just say you guys do not have Infusionsoft. What you're looking at here is Infusionsoft, okay? If you have, I read your comments. I'm never doing this. No way. I'm exhausted looking at it. If you have Infusionsoft, you can actually purchase this whole system from us. All 3 campaigns: Arrival, Survival, Revival, and customize it however you want once you buy it, okay? If you don't have Infusionsoft or you don't have the budget to purchase the whole system, you actually can lease it from us. So Jeff, how does it work? I know that we have the Infusionsoft, Turbo Dialer, and
Parsi.
Twilio and Parsi are all 4 tools that require this to function.
Correct.
So if they were to go out and build this on their own, they'd have to build it, they'd have to get Twilio, they'd have to get Infusionsoft, they'd have to get
Yes.
Turbo. Okay, how does it work with our system?
So basically what we do is during the setup process, we actually assign you a number, and we do all this, of course, under our own billing, basically, so that it isn't something you guys have to know how to do. All I need from you is to answer a few questions, and we can get you set up and running. What you also have is you're not committed to something. A lot of times these systems, as you get involved in them, you're going to end up setting them up, you're spending a certain amount of money, and you know, you get invested in this whole guys, this isn't easy stuff. Infusionsoft's a fantastic system, but it takes a little bit of time and some know-how to get in there and mess around with some things. But with that being said, when you work with us, we're doing the setup for you. So we're going to set up your TurboDial account. We're going to set up scripts, what's called Parsi. So any emails that you get, any leads that you get email notifications for, I should say, we're going to route those through Parsi. It's still going to send them to you personally, so you still get them the way you normally get them.
Can you do that with leads they get from, they have leads coming in from Zillow, they have leads coming in from their market leader account or their...
Anywhere there's an email notification of a lead, we can take that lead and automatically put it into the system and have the campaign start firing. The other thing is we also want to classify them as whether they're a buyer or a seller, because there are 2 different campaigns with different questions. It's the same process, but of course there are different questions based on whether they're a buyer or seller. So these are set up, and we help coordinate getting that all working for you. And then the next thing that we do, of course, is this is a number. You know, one of the questions I get a lot of times is, can I use my number that I have so that people have it? And in this particular case, you don't use your number, and that's because your number isn't attached to the Twilio account, the utility. So you don't want to give all that up and have to change who you're working with and your services. Maybe you're already using RingCentral, maybe you're using your cell phone, whatever the situation might be. So this is a number that we will set up with your same area code, so at least that you have, you know, some relevancy there. And
that's huge, having the same area code.
Absolutely. So then that way, you know, when you do take over on your own phone at some point, then you're able to communicate them without a confusing handoff. And the way it works is that in the meantime, while you're communicating with them, all the text is via email. So when they actually respond to a text, you're going to get an email notification that they texted you, and there's a little reply link that you can click on that basically takes you to this window that Lori just brought up here, and has a little box right there at the top, shows the history of the texts that have gone out to them, and then has a little box at the top that you can type in and hit send. Of course, this works fine on mobile, and you know, and obviously on your desktop as well. So it's very easy to respond back to them in this case. Now, what I usually do is, if you are going to take, what I usually recommend is, if you're going to take over the call now and you want them to physically call you, if they dial this number you're texting from, it'll forward right to whichever number you choose to have that route to. So they can do that. Or if you say, hey, I'd love to set up a meeting, why don't you call me at my direct line, this number, and give them the other number if you want to start and you want to take over that communication via this and take over texting via your own phone. Usually I recommend doing it that way. So they understand there's kind of a business line and a direct line or personal line. It hasn't really caused us any problems in the past with that kind of handoff.
So let's go over a couple of, I see some questions coming in. And these are fantastic questions. First of all, I'm not sure if I'm following the one question, but the numbers, I don't know what that question is about, the volume.
Maybe possibly about the graph has some numbers on it.
Oh, that graph, by the way, was only as sample size. What happens is, the way it comes in, it only is tracking people that are currently in the campaign. Jeff, how long? So the arrival campaign is 10 days total?
Yes, 10 days.
And it's how many touches in those 10 days?
So it's 15 touches.
Okay, so what we were looking at is only a buyer campaign and only the people that would have currently been in that 10-day cycle.
Correct.
Right. So ignore the volume numbers, because it can be deceiving based on what you're looking at there. Okay. All responses are not automated, okay? We're not there yet. Jeff and I have been toying with, I do kind of have a standard that works really well as far as what questions I ask people. The first several messages are automated, and those are, how do you enjoy the properties you're looking at? Should we send you homes up to $300,000? I forget the other one, but there's like 10 total, and until they respond, those keep firing. Once there's two-way communication, they answer, I already have an agent, or they answer, yes, I like the properties, what about this one? Or as this one did, she answered this morning, she's been busy, and then I asked her a question. We specifically started having a conversation. That's not even the one I had originally saved, but I like her price range there, so we're going to keep using that one. Once they start telling me what they're looking for, now I go into questions like, have you and your lender, the first one is, who is the agent you're working with? Okay, this is a manual thing that I type in. Who is the agent that you're working with? Not, are you working with an agent? Who is the agent you're working with? Because I want to get them to give me a name or say they're not working with one. And then, have you and your lender determined your purchasing power? Those are kind of some standard questions that I ask and I get great responses on. What we're looking to do is somehow build, once we have a two-way contact that has a keyword that triggers something, we'd like to be able to add an automated response at those couple of levels. But so far, the answers vary so much that we don't want to cause a kink in what's already so good. So we're kind of working on that little piece as a side. But what we have found right now works the best is that we kick in as humans once there is two-way contact.
Yep. And Allie, to answer your question more specifically, we are calculating all responses, whether they are potential business for us or not, because the purpose of the campaign is actually to get the communication. We had less than 20% communication, two-way communication with our leads that we generated before we put this process in place. So now that we're over 50%, obviously, and even the less than 20, it could have even been 10. We're not 100% sure because we didn't track it that same way back then. But the bottom line is that, yes, all responses, this campaign is meant to help you vet whether or not this is someone that you should continue to spend any time or money on to try to do a deal.
Yeah, and you guys, I think what's important that we understand here, and like I said, because all of my leads come from the internet, and they have for years and years and years, including listings. This isn't just buy side. We have a buy campaign and a sell campaign that come with this. But I will tell you that so many of these leads that register, and we're going to put up a graph here shortly of what we're finding as far as those numbers go. One, a large percentage of them already have agents. Okay, it's 2016. People want to be in control of their own home search, and even when they have a real estate agent, they go online and register and look at houses. So a large percentage of these already have agents. Another set of them are just barely starting to look. They don't have any money, or they don't have a down payment, or they don't have the credit that they need yet, or they just haven't got the foggiest idea, and they're going to be years out of cultivating, right? You don't want to constantly be chasing, but you want to be providing value and have these people in your system and be nurturing them to turn them into business. And so this system is designed exactly what Jeff said, to vet those leads so that you're spending the time on the ones that are most likely to convert. As a human, you are spending that time, and as a system, that is spending the time on the cultivation processes, working that person up to a certain level. And the survival campaign is designed to ask those pivotal questions. One of the survival campaign questions is, has anything changed regarding your home purchase? And the goal of that is, let's say you haven't talked to this person now in 60 days or 90 days, the system's doing whatever, maybe you don't have their you haven't been able to reach them manually, or you're doing what I do and you're not making phone calls and you want the system to do what it does. This allows them to say, yes, I now have my loan, or yes, now we're ready to buy, or no, it hasn't changed, and you're going to keep them on that long-term nurture. So the email campaigns are guidance, like, here's what to expect when you're buying a home, down payment programs, or if you're selling a home, have you considered doing a pre-appraisal or a pre-home inspection? Are you preparing your house to sell? Those kind of value articles. And I wrote them, or my writing team wrote them, so that they're designed to keep that person getting value all through the process. Okay. Next question we see here is, let's see. So somebody's telling me they have a custom website that already has a lead program built in. Can you hook this up to that lead system or set it up as a plugin? Yeah, what Jeff is saying, whatever.
Yeah, the best way to do this, there are people that have, maybe Boomtown or Conversion or different systems that may do the first text. I've seen a lot of times they do that initial reach, but maybe it's not a full-blown campaign. So what I recommend to them is that we work together on that. you might alter your initial campaign to not start until 10 days after this one so that our campaign can run first.
Right.
So our campaign, if you're running through us, if we're leasing it, you don't have your own system, you don't have your own Infusionsoft account, can't customize it, then you're going to run at the same set of rules that everybody else does in that case. And so if your system can be, accommodating to this going first, then yes, you're still going to get the email notification. You just need to set a delay on your side if you don't want that to kick in.
Right. All right. Can we set up a notification via text message on top of email when somebody texts back? Okay, I'm not sure if what you're asking is, can the system notify you by text that somebody's responding? You do get the, how do they get?
Well, they get an email response. So what I would recommend is there's a lot of rules. Yeah, a lot of things you can do in your email program actually to favorite something from this email address or whatever, and they're all going to come from the same email address, the TurboDial email. So that isn't something the system necessarily does, but certainly there are a lot of ways to make that happen.
Yeah, and I don't know where you're at with lead flow, but for me it's a pretty large amount. And so it's a lot. I don't want my phone blowing up with those all day long. I find the email a little more manageable, and without fat finger texting, it seems to be a little bit. But I understand that some people are more mobile, and so that's a request we can make note of. I believe it's something it could be set up through Zapier or Ifit or one of those recipe type formulas. If this email then texts this, would probably work. So we'll have to look into that. Somebody else just mentioned Zapier. So yeah, I think it probably would function in that facet through something like Zapier. The arrival campaign text only. No, the arrival campaign is text and email. Yes. So Jeff, they're asking about pricing or how they get this. What do they do next if they're interested?
All right. So basically, we have one consistent piece is the $495 setup. So $495 that gets us that sets you up where I'm creating your TurboDial account. We're creating your Infusionsoft user. We're creating your Parsees to automatically intercept your leads. So we'll spend probably about 45 minutes together getting that all dialed in and set up with your rules and the different things that you have. So that part's consistent. Then where it varies is whether or not if you have Infusionsoft, we can do it as a subscription base where it's $199 a month as an Infusionsoft subscription, and you can use it for as long, it's $199 a month for as long as you want to use the campaign. If you decide it's not working out for you for whatever reason and want to cancel, there's no contracts, nothing else. You literally just say you want to stop. The other option is to actually buy it outright, again, if you have an Infusionsoft, where we directly install the campaign into your account, and that's $24.95, which includes that setup fee. So if you do the math on that, if you use it for more than 10 months, then obviously you start gaining the value back at that point. And then the last option is when we actually have it as if you don't have an Infusionsoft account, you don't want to add a different CRM to your system, you don't want to make big wholesale changes in your business. Then we actually have a separate Infusionsoft account, separate from our own, that we've set up specifically for this, and it allows us to actually set this all up with you as a user in our Infusionsoft account. You are assigned to your leads and can only see your own leads, and the campaigns run through our system, through our subscriptions. And in that case, we do that based on volume. So, for example, it's the $495 setup, just as I said, and then it's $199 a month for 50 contacts in the system. Then it's $299 a month for 100 contacts. Then it's $399 a month for 250.
When you say contacts, they would be either in the arrival, survival, or revival campaign, but then they move out, opening them room for another contact.
Correct.
Right?
If we achieve 2A contact and we choose to remove them from that, if you want them to stay in the survival campaign because you don't feel it's a strong lead, you're going to leave them in and it's going to go towards your count. If you only want them to run through the arrival campaign and then nothing more, we can have them delete out after that so that you can always refill it. It's however many people are active in the campaign each month, and we just reconcile that month to month.
Yesterday, I closed with a referral partner. One of the things that I do is I generate leads, and then I work with other agents that have certain specialties to close out those transactions, and I charge a referral fee. So because I've got the power to generate leads, it allows me to do that. So one of my specialties that isn't my specialty is horse property, and I rank #1 on the search engines for horse property in Las Vegas. So I get a large volume of leads for horse property, but I personally don't work with clients. So yesterday we closed one that was a horse property. It was $129,000 over my average price range. I actually make more on that referral generating that lead than I do when we close a transaction on my own team with how splits and expenses work. And so it's pretty powerful for me. Well, guess what? I never would have closed that if it weren't for Autopilot ISA, because I was not going to chase that person, but they responded to, I think it was the 4th or 5th text, I'd actually have to look, and all of a sudden we started having engagement and talking about horse property, and eventually I got her to agree to talk to my agent, put her on the phone, and she was an excellent agent, obviously, and got the deal done, and we closed yesterday. So that one transaction makes this entire system worth it for the year if I were just a regular agent that didn't build this myself. Just that conversion alone is pretty powerful. So I see some more questions here. Here's what I'm going to suggest to you at this point, because I respect your time and I want to end on time. Jeff, do they reach out to you now at this point if they're interested, they have more questions, and
Yes,
how do they do that?
absolutely. So definitely, you can catch me on email is the best way, so I can set up a time if we want to go into more specifics, or if you just have a quick question, I can always answer that. Sometimes it might be at 11 o'clock at night, so that works out really well.
Yep.
But you can email me at coo@ballenbrands.com. And of course, we will follow up with you. We'll have like a little one sheet that we can send you with some details as well. But I will also go through your questions specifically if we did not answer them here, and actually reply back personally to answer those questions.
Yep. All right. Thanks, you guys, so much for your time. coo@ballenbrands.com to reach Jeff. And of course, we appreciate your Las Vegas, Henderson, and North Las Vegas referrals to our real estate team here, Ballen Vegas. And I look forward to working more with you guys all in the future. Thanks so much for joining us today and making Jeff feel so welcome on his first webinar. Get out there and generate some leads and convert some leads. We will talk to you guys all later.